Welcome to the Rockabye Revenue Podcast with me, Abby Watson. I'm a mum of 4 and a business strategist, and I train people to become hypnobirthing teachers. In the last decade, I've built a thriving baby business that grew beyond my wildest dreams. This podcast is for you if you run a business or dream of running a business in the birth and baby industry. You want to change lives whilst making more money. I'm talking about creating sustainable income whilst being present for the people that matter most. I believe for our baby businesses to have the impact we desire, we must be rewarded. On this podcast, expect me to share actionable strategies without the jargon. I've been where you are. I've built a business while raising 4 little ones, and now I'm here to help you turn your passion into profit while creating the life you've always dreamed of. So let's get started. Hi, lovely one. We all go through times in our business where marketing, ultimately getting our potential clients to know what we offer and encourage them to book, where that feels just harder than other times. And I know when I was at the start of my business, it particularly felt hard because ultimately I wasn't used to doing it and I wasn't sure how to do it. And I wanted to talk about this today, these times when marketing feels really hard. Now, this morning, I've been on a catch-up call with my graduates at Love Your Birth, so people I've trained to be hypnobirthing teachers. And we were talking about this very topic, like when marketing feels hard, when we feel reluctant or overwhelmed with getting ourselves out there. And when I hear people talk about this, often what they're talking about is social media being hard, not necessarily marketing in general. And isn't it funny when we think about marketing, our first thought is social media. And I suppose that's quite natural when it feels like the free thing on our phone, the thing we see everybody else doing. So it's almost our go-to when it comes to marketing our business. And don't get me wrong, social media is a blooming incredible tool when it comes to marketing baby businesses. Most of our potential clients are on social media, and many of them spend hours a day scrolling. So, it seems obvious that we want to be on there. We want to have a presence on there. We want to be telling people what we offer, why it benefits them, and so on. But it is one of many ways of marketing a business, one of many ways. And when I hear people feeling pretty overwhelmed by marketing, usually they're mostly referring to social media. And usually I remind them that it's actually one of many methods, so I remind them of all the other ways of marketing a business. And actually, they're doing some of the other ways without them realising that they are actually marketing their business. They might be meeting other business people. They might be talking about their business to family and friends that no doubt spread the word for them. They might be leaving their flyers places that they enjoy going for coffee. All these things, of course, are ways of marketing their business. They might be setting up free taster events, approaching people to speak at their events, doing things like that to get in front of potential clients. Again, very powerful marketing techniques. But let's think about this whole social media thing and this whole thing when we're just overwhelmed by it, when we don't know where to start or it feels like a bigger task than it should. Like I said, I felt very much like that when I first started my business. And why wouldn't I? You know, I'd never marketed a business before. I'd never really been very active on social media. Yes, I was a scroller, but I'd never been one for posting very much myself. So why would I suddenly feel like really confident in that? It just wasn't in my comfort zone. So of course, you know, that came with a bit of practice. But when I look more closely at people who are feeling overwhelmed with posting on social media, with marketing using social media, quite often it's because they are overcomplicating it. They are procrastinating about having a strategy or knowing what their niche is or knowing what makes them different or feeling that everything they put out there has to be perfect or feeling that they have to, you know, utilize every single post as an education or create and cultivate a community. And don't get me wrong, I blooming love a strategy. And don't get me wrong, social media is a very powerful tool when it comes to a community. But quite often when we are feeling overwhelmed by social media, this overthinking it, this, you know, overcomplicating it means that we never blooming take action, that we never do the thing, that we're putting this invisible barrier in our way, when actually, let's take this back to basics. If we are using social media to market our businesses, we are ultimately wanting to communicate on there what we do, who it's for, why it's going to make a difference, and how to book. As simple as that. But whilst we sat there thinking, what is different about me? You know, what is my niche? How can I educate these people? We're not doing the thing that actually we need to do. And even those people that are actually really active on social media, quite often they are overlooking the basics. They've overcomplicated it so much that actually when it comes to their profile, the pregnant woman or the new mum that's looking for their service can't even see, you know, where they're based in the world. They can't see what it is they offer. You know, they hear them talking about pregnancy, early motherhood, but actually they're not quite sure what service they actually offer, or even if they offer a service, are they just a blogger? Are they just an influencer? So whether or not you're listening to this today, overwhelmed with marketing on social media, or whether actually you're doing it regularly, but maybe without the kind of reward that you'd like from it, i.e. the bookings, let's go back to basics here. It would benefit us all to go back to basics and remember what the function of marketing on social media is, who we're talking to, and the key information they need to be receiving. Is it clear what you do? Are you saying it in everyday language that your potential client gets what you're doing? Have you made it clear how you offer your services? i.e., is it in person? And if so, where? Where in the world are you? Where in the country are you? Is it clear how to book, how to get in touch, what your availability is? Going back to basics is absolutely essential. Now, really recently, I've been looking for a plumber. We've decided not to sell our house. I mean, it's a long story. Perhaps I'll share someday. But we've decided not to sell our house. And because I was so excited to do up a new house. I mean, no renovation here. I can't deal with that kind of stress. But, prettify a new house. We've started doing a few new things on our own house. So in the midst of that, I've been looking for a plumber. So to look for a plumber, I've taken to local Facebook groups and I've searched in those local Facebook groups, plumbers. And in those Facebook groups come up with lots of posts that people have also asked for plumbers. And then in the comments, there's loads of suggested plumbers. So then I've clicked on their page and it's been interesting. And it's really made me reflect on how important this basic information is. I know you listening are not plumbers, but, stay listening because hopefully this is going to be really useful to you. So when I click on a plumber's page, if I don't see in the last few posts that they do the type of bathroom work I'm looking for, I click right off. Yeah? Secondly, if I don't see where they're located, I think, they might not cover my area. So I bounce right off. If I see very little on there in terms of pictures of actual work, again, I bounce right off. Now, this is how many of us operate when we are looking for service providers. If we can't see in the first few seconds of landing on that social media that person offers what you're looking for, where they offer it, we bounce right off. We go look for somebody else. So for a moment now, think about your own marketing. If you have social media promoting your business, if someone lands on it, on your page, in the first few seconds of being there, can they find out where you are, if that's relevant to your business, what you offer clearly, and how to book? If they can't find that information in the first few seconds and it's not clear, it's not in language that they understand, they are likely to bounce off. And you are missing these real motivated bookers. These people that are searching and wanting your thing. That's ultimately what our marketing is about. And yes, there's so many voices online, isn't there, telling you what you should be doing. That you should make yourself different, that you should stand out, that you should niche, that you should educate, that all these things. And yes, those tips are fabulous. But if actually we are missing the basics, well, we're never going to get the bookings. Even the people with the nailed strategies, even the people that have nailed their niche, still need the basics. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, go back to basics. Make your first post all about what you offer and who it's for. Check that your bio contains the essentials, what you offer, how it's delivered. So is it, in a specific location? Is it online so they can access wherever? And how they get in touch. Don't ever underestimate the power of those basic information, because people are busy. People can bounce right off and look for something different. So make sure you have absolute clarity. And I'll see you next time for another episode of Rockabye Revenue. Take care. Bye. Thank you for listening to Rockabye Revenue. I hope this episode has left you with some fresh ideas and bundles of motivation. If you enjoyed this episode, do make sure you click subscribe so you never miss an installment. And if you found this episode useful, I'd love you forever if you leave a 5-star review, helping this podcast reach the ears of more of the helpers in this world. And remember, keep changing lives. See you next time.